you go.
What is up, guys? I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're looking at some more r/entitled parents. If you're new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too. And a huge thank you to the members of this channel. It is truly appreciated. As always, the likes and subscribes make a massive difference to this channel, and they have been the last couple of days, so thank you once again for that. And if you do have a moment, please consider doing so, because it really helps. And with that being said, let's get straight into today's stories. Much love, guys. Our first story comes from Future Butterscotch 9. Where did you learn to speak English? England? This story took place 5 months ago, so it won't be exactly word for word, but I've remembered enough of the event to recite it. Blah blah blah, you have all heard it before. So my stepmom is British, Welsh to be exact. For those who don't know, Wales is a little hump west of England and North Cornwall. It's a beautiful place known for sheep, alcohol, and mistakes involving sheep and alcohol. My stepmom was ethnically Welsh, but raised in England. Despite this, my name, Entitleded, I don't know if I said that right, Welsh for grandma and grandpa, insisted on her and her brother learning Welsh to preserve their heritage. The Welsh are a proud people, and so they wanted to ensure their children were immersed as they could be. So she grew up bilingual, went to uni, got a job working for a certain tech giant, and moved to the US to help train their staff. A few years later, she met my dad and joined the family. At the time, I was still getting over my mum, so her presence was less than welcome. Despite this, my stepmom never pushed me or tried to buy her way in. She gave me the room I needed to grieve, and when I was ready, showered me with enough affection to make up for the lost time. She has my eternal love and respect for it, and has become my second mother. Now we live in a large town in the Midwest, being west of Seaboard but east of the Mississippi, so while most people are open to outsiders, there's the usual few who just want to ruin everything. Around Christmas time, I was visiting home from college with my girlfriend, Charlie, whose awesomeness has been detailed in another post, enjoying some quality girls time with my stepmom. We were all in the mall, searching for some place that sold plastic modelling glue for my dad. He's really into Warhammer. During this, my stepmom is on the phone with her brother, who still lives in the UK, catching up and sharing some laughs. They were speaking Welsh to each other, which happened to offend a woman who has since earned the title of Karen. We were standing in front of the mall map, trying to find a hobby store, when I heard a loud scoff from behind us. I turned to see a woman dressed in a rather nice looking business suit, corralling her kids away like they just encountered a streaker. Now I was ready to let it go, but Charlie can get very defensive of people she likes, so she ended up calling her out. She said, "Something offend you, mum?" She seemed to ponder her next move before responding with that "oh so stupid" phase. "You're in America. When you're here you speak English, not Muslim. My kids don't need to hear that." Now, I've met some pretty stupid people in my life, even dated one, but never ever have I heard of someone confusing Welsh for Arabic, which is what I assume she meant. They're two very different languages from two very different cultures. The only similarities between them is how little I understand them. However, for someone to be so offended by someone speaking another language, they probably also didn't immerse themselves too much in other cultures. To her, the world probably began in New York and ended in Los Angeles. It was at this point that my stepmom hung up. Now, I know Americans get a bad rap and all, she said in an obvious British accent, but it doesn't help when you actively conform to the stereotype. "Oh my god," Karen with a righteous indignation. "Your accent is awful. Where did you even learn to speak English?" My stepmom held the most deadpan expression she could. She said, "England." I swear I could smell the smoke coming from the flaming mess inside Karen's skull. She looked at Charlie and I, a pair of shockingly Caucasian college brats, and then my stepmom, our even paler chaperone. Took a moment to process what she was doing, and then walked away, dragging a group of embarrassed looking tweens with her. I have to give her credit, at least she knew when to quit. My stepmom chuckled, muttered an offensive sounding Welsh phrase, and then helped us scan the map for the hobby shop. The rest of the day went well, and we had a funny story to tell my dad when we got back. To all my bigots out there who get offended when someone speaks another language, get over yourselves, the world doesn't revolve around you. To all my bilingual friends out there who speak their native tongues, good for you, it's important to keep your culture alive. And to Karen, next time you try to accost someone for speaking something other than English, at least get the right consonant. Much love, Future Butterscotch 9. I like this OP, and how well did the stepmom deal with that situation? Our next story is from Stargazer728. How an old rain jacket became my defense against an entitled mother. This happened 2 months ago, before this COVID-19 lockdown. To give some more preface, a long time ago, I had an old hand-me-down jacket from my uncle who happened to work in the prison system. This jacket happened to have a DOJ Federal Bureau of Prisons logo on it. I've worn it many times, and it's always garnered some interesting reactions from people. I just so happened to be wearing this jacket for our encounter with the EM. Now onto the story. Me and my fiance went out to grab a bite to eat on a Saturday evening. As we ordered and sat at our table, we decided to play our Nintendo Switch, which apparently is EM bait, while we waited for our food. After a few minutes, I had to go and use the bathroom. About a few minutes after I left, according to my fiancée, some lady, the EM of the story, came to our table and had her child, the EK, sit down in my chair, which prompted this exchange. The EM said, "Excuse me, do you mind watching my kid? There's no kids play area here, and I saw you had a Switch for him to play." EK said, "What games do you have on your Switch? Do you have Fortnite?" EM starting to walk away. "Have fun." The fiancée putting the Switch inside her bag. Mom, I'm sorry, I didn't agree to watch your kid. He's your responsibility. Also, I don't trust people I don't know with my Switch." EK said, "But my mum said I can play with your Switch." EM to my fiancée, "Hey now, don't be like that. It's hard being a single mum. Plus you obviously have the means to entertain my child, so why not help me out?" My fiancée said, "Like I said, I'm not responsible for your child. I didn't even invite him to sit here. Please leave." "Now you listen to me. I know the owner here, and I will have you thrown out if you don't watch my child." As the EM is yelling, I happen to be walking out of the bathroom towards the table where my fiancée was. I'm walking up and the EM sees me coming and notices the DOJ logo on my jacket. A smirk crossed her face as I got to the table. EM to me, "Now you look like someone in law enforcement. This rude lady here is refusing to give my little angel her Switch to play with after she promised to do so." Me, cuttering off and with a stern voice, "Is there a reason you're harassing my fiancée and trying to take the Switch I bought for her?" I watched the EM smirk give way to a look that said, "Oh shit." She quickly grabbed her child and made a beeline to her table. The EM didn't bother us afterwards outside of a few stolen glances. We got our food, ate it, and left after finishing our meal. I was glad I picked that day to wear my uncle's old raincoat. Edits, holy crap, this blew up. But to give more details about the jacket, I got it 15 years ago, and it was old when I got it. I never really had any issues from the police officers when I wore the jacket outside of a conversation about where I got it. There are times though where I will have someone nervously ask me if I work for the prison system and breathe a sigh of relief when I tell them no. I wonder what makes them nervous. It's quite rare for me to wear it considering that 98% of the time I wear other jackets I have. Our next story is from Priest of Judas. EM accuses me of scaring her kid while in cosplay. This happened to me about 3 years ago and it's probably the strangest EP experience I've ever had. I regularly attend Supernova, the Australian version of Comic Con, and since I graduated high school I started going in costume. I'm not a professional cosplayer, but I enjoy dressing up and it's always a great feeling when people are still wanting to take photos with you. This particular year I was dressed up as Pentagon Jr. For those who don't know, he's a Mexican wrestler with an awesome mask and a nickname of the Breaker of Bones, and as a result I look reasonably intimidating, even though I didn't go out of my way to try and scare anyone. For the most part I just walked around and minded my own business, as most do at the event. At about midday I finally sat down to eat something, much easier said than done while trying to avoid the face paint and work under a chin strap, when after a minute I start getting really uncomfortable from this really strange death stare I'm being given by a woman, EM, sitting at a table near me. For a little bit, I don't pay her much attention. Maybe she's taken in the outfit or something. Eventually though, it happens. I'm trying to eat my pizza I bought for lunch when she gets up and comes over to me. She says, "What do you think you're doing?" I'm confused. I said, eating lunch? "Don't give me that attitude. You know damn well what you're doing." I'm getting very weirded out. As far as I know, the only thing I've done all day that could maybe be considered rude or offensive was try to speak Spanish. Zero miedo, so I'm drawing a blank pretty quickly. I said, "I'm just trying to," and she cuts me off. "You're deliberately scaring my son." I look over at a table and, sure enough, her kid is there, dressed like a wizard from Hogwarts. Admittedly, he does look very nervous at me, but not really scared. I said to the kid, "It's okay little dude, it's just a costume." EM is furious. "Did you really have to come to this as such a creepy looking clown?" I swear to God she said this. If you know Pentagon Jr., you know how completely wrong this statement is. I said, "Oh, I'm not a clown," and she cuts me off again. "You're just trying to scare children." Now something to keep in mind, not solely for Supernova but any pop culture convention, is that a lot of people dress up and very often it's something that's not exactly kid friendly. A lot of horror movie characters, generally a lot of revealing costumes and some pretty intense makeup work sometimes. By comparison, I was pretty tame. EM said, "I'm going to get security to throw you out, you freak." Before I even had a chance to reply, she grabbed her kid and stormed off. I'm not entirely sure, but I think the kid tried to wave goodbye to me, as I was left there very confused by the whole situation. The best part of this was, there was also another guy there dressed as Pentagon, Dark, as his costume was way better than mine. I'm not sure how the mother went trying to get me kicked out, but I enjoyed another 3 hours there before I walked out. Stopped scratching my head as to why I was the only one getting berated for looking scary. Maybe I should have gone as a mirror, then she'd have been the one scared of me. I like that comeback at the end. And here's a picture of Pentagon Jr. if you didn't know. I didn't know it either. Pretty badass looking dude. I don't think most kids would be scared of that, really. I mean... Our next story is from Iresaka. Entitled Dad Gets Arrested, Sued, and Shows the Judge his True Colours in Court. I've had this story in my back pocket for a long time. I was never sure if I should share it because it's such a typical EP sounding story, and often I see people being accused of making things up. However, I've been bored, so I decided, what the heck, I'll share. This is a two-parter. The first part took place in a parking lot, and the finale in a courtroom. I'm on mobile and I'm going to use a couple of nicknames, so please bear with me. The general cast of characters are Kim, my nice neighbour, Dick, arsehole entitled dad, and me, the fabulous Eresica. So Kim and I used to carpool our daughters to a large indoor athletic centre. This place had everything: a soccer field, a skating rink, a gym, a basketball court, all indoors, so the kids could practice their sports year round. Our daughters used to go there for gymnastics / cheerleading lessons at the same time. Occasionally we'd get to ride together to watch them practice. This is one of those days. So there's plenty of typical soccer mums and hockey dads that go to this place, but most were bearable, except for Dick. He was, well, a giant, dick, that's the nickname. He always complained he deserved premium parking, that the coach didn't give his kid enough playtime, etc. He was verbally abusive towards his child. Also, we could hear him screaming during the kids' hockey practice all the way from the other side of the building. He belittled that sweet little guy, would shove other parents out of the way as he was walking. He believed he was the king of the arena. He was, and still is, by far the most horrible person I've ever encountered. On this day, Kim and I went to watch the girls practice together. Dick was in a particularly bad mood. He was telling off the front desk woman when we walked in. I still don't know why. He was smacking a sweet innocent little boy in the back of the head because he wasn't walking fast enough to the rink. It was awful. Coincidentally, I mentioned to Kim that it was maybe time to call CPS on him that very day. So now we're leaving, and so is he. He's still swearing and belittling his kid. We get the girls in the car and we pull to the main road, a two-way highway. By the way, Kim's driving. We need to take a left, so she has to stop and wait for an opening. He whips out of his spot, never slowing, and just as she brakes, he slams into the back of her car. The cars were damaged and everyone was fine. Kim, Dick and I all get out. He immediately runs to her car, screaming that she was a stupid fucking bitch, dumb whore, the whole 9 yards. Even though we know she did nothing wrong, we don't dare argue back. Kim just says, "Give me your insurance info." That set him off. Bam! He punches her right in the nose, screaming, "Stupid cunt," shattering it. The kids all jump out and begin screaming and crying. I'm trying to calm and wrangle them, and at the same time, fumble for my phone to call 911. Long story long, he was arrested, there was a criminal case, and he was found guilty, put on probation, and had to pay her reparations. But she sued civilly too, to make up the extra cost, lost work, pain and suffering, future medical, etc. So fast forward to civil trial, I was there as a witness. The judge was trying to ask us questions, but he kept interrupting, being just as obnoxious and rude as always. Finally, the judge asked him straight out, "Did you punch Kim Blank in the face?" His response was shocking, classic, and also ended the trial immediately. "Yeah, I punched her. Look at that bitch. I gave her free plastic surgery. I improved her ugly fucking face. I did her a favour." Oh my god. So, yeah, she received what she was asking for, plus some bonus cash. Last I heard, his long-suffering wife divorced him and got a restraining order. She, the mum, brings the sweet kiddo to hockey now. She doesn't say much but seems fine. I don't know if he has visitation, but if he does, I pray it's supervised. Just think, if he was quick enough to punch some random stranger, how quickly will he be punching his own family? How sick is that? Glad that guy got arrested, and let's hope, well, if this is all the case, let's hope he never sees his kid again, because that's absolutely brutal. What do you guys make of that story? I would love to know in the comments below. As always guys, a massive thank you for the time out of your day. It is truly, truly appreciated from the bottom of my heart. I'm actually touching my chest right now. Huge thank you. If you have time, if you did enjoy the video, please consider hitting that like, as it makes a massive difference to our channel. It truly does. And consider subscribing if you're new. Why the hell not, right? Thank you for being here once again, and I will see you in the next one. Much love, guys.